Hello and welcome back to Axis and Allies. Now this video will be a lot different in comparison to my other videos here. This will be more of a strategy discussion that I want to have here. It's not really going to be focused on gameplay or me playing a game, though I will showcase a couple games that I'm currently playing right now. But yeah, if that's not what you're interested in, then I fully understand. I just want to talk about what I've been doing this season. I've only really been playing Axis, and I want to talk about the Japan heavy air builds, or Orange Air. I've just finished a game here against J Beach Bum. That's kind of just inspired me to make this a little bit. I've really been experimenting with Japan. Being in Axis and Allies, Japan's one of the harder powers to really get a good idea of. I think UK trumps that for the Allies because they act as the glue to keep that team together, and working around UK logistics is a pretty core skill, I think. But with Japan, I think they're the second most complex. Especially with KJF defenses, some of them can be pretty brutal. And Japan, especially if they have a rough start, there are quite a few moves that can be brutal against Japan early on, and it's very hard for them to recover. So there's a lot at the Allies' disposal to really neuter a Japan, you could say. So I'm quite enjoying playing my Japans this season. I just want to go over what I've been doing. So I've just finished a league game. I'm participating in the ANA league on Discord here, and I've just rematched J Beach, who beat me in the team club game. I got my revenge here, and now I'm not making this to humiliate him or anything like that. This was a very good game. But I tested out the heavy air builds. Now I have 5 examples of games that are going on and this game. So I just want to talk about that. So in this game, ever since round 5, I purchased air every single turn. As you can see, fighter, bomber, bomber, 2 fighters and a bomber, bomber, fighter, bomber, bomber, and bomber. And this is a kill. I've got a couple examples of kill Germany and a kill Japan as well. So yes, ever since round 5, I've built air every single turn, multiple planes in several rounds. And what this allows you to do, along with an aggressive Japanese expansion, is one being very, very efficient trades. I've taken many 1-to-2 ratio trades with just an infantry and my air force against 2, or I think I did 2 and 3 as well. Very efficient trades. Another thing is early on, I've been building fighters to, especially in Kill Germany's, you need that fighter defense to get over to Berlin as soon as possible. If Japan can prolong Germany's life, it's a pretty good combo to send all your planes to Europe and expand aggressively with Japan, right? To get more income and go for a long game. I wasn't going to win this game quickly. I think Russia had a pretty good start. I like to decide early on if I'm going to go for a rush game and try and win the game quickly by round 6 or 7, or go for a more prolonged eco game like this one. As you can see here, I've noted down the current J-Air count is 19 planes. Japan has 19 planes on this board. We have 14 here in Northwestern, fighter in Egypt, 2 fighters in Season 34, bomber in Szechuan, bomber in Japan. The great thing about the heavy air buys with Japan is J Beach here went for a Medshuk. He went for a split. He went for Med and took Norway with the US and put an IC down. While the UK did its usual things, you know, trading France, trading Northwestern and Baltic. Yeah, doing all sorts like the UK do normally in a game. So as soon as the Japanese air entered around Szechuan, especially with bombers, I could start zoning off 15, so you'd have to commit more and more. A good thing to do as Germany is if it's what I've been experimenting is in Medshucks, Germany should stack Italy to maintain its recruit slots, just in case. You always want the option to, because sometimes you might get more income than you need, so you can get an extra infantry. And if the US is going to limit that, then you've got to essentially waste money on artillery that you don't really need. Or you'd be forced to get another tank when you want more infantry instead. So I stacked Italy early on, and then sent planes over to Italy as soon as possible. And then just slowly added more and more planes to Berlin, which slowly limited what the Allies could get away with. He had to give up Medshuk. He had to commit the entire UK Navy to help the Mediterranean fleet. Otherwise, it'd be wiped. Like on the turn, I planned to wipe out his fleet in 14. He put the UK fleet in there. I said to him that was a well spotted counter there, because I was going to wipe it out. I had like 8 fighters and 4 bombers in range, and my fleet. My fleet was had more air support as well. So what I've been working towards in this game in particular is limiting the Allied logistics in the Atlantic Ocean. And as you can see, the final endgame point where he thought there's no point dragging this out any longer, is me stacking Northwestern with my planes. That's crushing. 6 bombers on 10. He was forced to commit at least 5 boats or 5 units to protect that. Definitely gonna have to give up season 8 and stack 3, otherwise I'm gonna wipe out 3 now. So yeah, it's a very strong example here. Another note is that this Japan Air builds, especially I think around 7 or around 8, I purchased 3 planes because India was under my control. He created a situation where he could trade it with both the Russians and the UK. So I committed more units. It would be an IPC negative for me, but I needed to commit more so Russia couldn't take it back, and then the UK could land their air force and their purchase stack back. So I committed more units so only the UK could take it, and then I could crush them afterwards and could take control of India. This heavy Japan air builds work very well if you have India under your control, right? If you can get India very quickly, as will show up in some of these other examples, it's a very good starting platform for heavy air builds. And what I've been doing, as you can see, is taking every single man off the islands. So a transport would be covered by 2 infantry from the islands, which means I can get an extra plane around. So that's essentially what I was doing. I had 2 transports grabbing everything. Transports everywhere, just grabbing absolutely everything. Which means I only need to buy 4 units for Japan, because I had India, Kwangtung, and Manchuria producing for me. So I could just buy more planes, just keep buying more planes. Eventually I gave up on heavy air production just to 1 bomber return, so I can get that Kazakh stack up and running. And then I went for the Egypt IC, which I'm also testing out, which seems to work very well. So I only used that for 1 turn, I think. Yeah, but the game's pretty much solidified in Axis control. I control the economy. He has to significantly come down take back Africa. So yeah, it's a good example. Now I want to go to a weak example. The only reason this is weak is because it's a good one. First off, it's a completely different board, but it's still advantageous for me because I have a Kazakh and Caucasus stack. But the problem with this one is my hold on Africa is very weak, so I don't have a particularly strong hold. I've done pretty well for expansion, but in this game in particular, Russia succeeded a Russia round 2 50-50 and got a top 1% result on Karelia to the point where Germany could not actually take back Karelia. It went that badly for Germany. Lost pretty much all my tanks instantly to some ridiculous top 1% result. I offered it was like a 55% for me to hold. So not only did I have the advantage, he still got a top 1%. Wiped out my German stack, Russia 2. And not only that, UK 1 pulled off Season 37, got an above average result here. Yeah, Russia, yeah, completely wiped everything. Only lost 5 infantry and had a massive stack in Karelia left to the point where I just didn't have anything to really... It would be an IPC negative for me to hit. So I couldn't hit it. But the UK also went for Season 37. And got a pretty good result. I think he had 3 units left. Because Japan had to wipe out... Yeah. 2 fighters and a carrier. I got... Like, the dice gave back a little bit there. But losing... Trying to do a heavy air build when you're down 2 fighters round 1 it's painful. This is a slightly weaker example. I only have 8 fighters as Japan right now. It's round 14. This game should have been lost quite a while ago, but my opponent has been quite inefficient with his US. Very inefficient. Has given me a chance to stay alive a lot longer with Germany than I should have, despite that horrific result. And has actually allowed me to gain some control over the income and get that Caucasus and Kazakh stack. So it's probably going to turn to an end game, Japan versus UK and US. But I'm continuing with the... Yeah, like he succeeded and he was in a pretty good position to KJF, but he did not. Let's see, when did I start getting air? I mean, I'm not even trying. Like, I was so far behind with both Axis members. I've not been able to really try it in this game. Yeah, here we are. Finally, when I can, I think, yeah, I eventually took India. That's when I purchased a bunch of planes and started thinking about how am I going to keep Germany living, right? Yeah, this is a difficult game, but apparently I still have the advantage slightly. I think that's it. Yeah, so I'm trying to pull off this tactic despite the bad dice I've received so far. The other example, one is a good one, apparently. Another KJF here. Let's see, did the UK do M37 in this one? Nope. So, trying to put off the heavy air builds when the Allies succeed to C-37 is quite difficult. It really is. In this example, Japan has 14 aircraft right now. Decent expansion. I've only just taken India recently, I think. Like, it really, the heavy air builds really kick off once you take India. Ideally, you want to take it pretty quickly. Took it round 8, and I lost fighters in the engagement, I think. Yeah. Oh, actually, I've written down, it's a good example, but the Allies are very far ahead. Yeah, it's been a rough game for Germany. Obviously with the France stack. But Germany's nowhere near falling, despite how skewed it might seem. I still think this is a good example. What I'm going to be doing in this game, and I've started doing in mass, is buying 2 planes a turn. Really ramp up that aircraft. I'm gonna invest a little bit more into fighters just to keep Germany alive. It looks like Russia's stacked Kazakh. It's actually my turn. Japan might have some odds to wipe out this and still keep the momentum, and Germany could probably push forward because Russia's going to be super weak. I don't know why. This might be an overextend from Russia here. I actually didn't realize how bad it was, the disparity, so I actually did a strategic bomb with with Japan and got a pretty good result. Yeah, I didn't lose a plane. I was not very happy about bombing that round, but it actually went pretty well. So yeah, Allies are in the lead in this game, but the Japanese air investment will help me control Africa, the income, keep Germany alive, and try play for more of a drawn-out eco game again. With a good expansion, I'm just about to clean up some of these units. And since I'm committing a transport, it means I need less units to buy here, which means more planes for me to buy. This is a KJF example. By default, I do recommend in a KJF to invest heavily into Japanese air anyway. It's not really... I do this all the time with Japan. Buy heavy into air. Japan currently has 14 aircraft. Yeah, that's 10. That's 12. Yeah, 12 fighters, 2 bombers. This is an interesting game. Because despite the advantage the Axis have, it looks like he's going to try to put off 2 Ocean now. Which might lead to his downfall, because he should probably focus on grabbing some more of his income. But what I've been doing is basically wiping out any landing that he does. He actually recently... It's actually my turn again. He actually recently pilt the Egypt IC. I'm actually going to try and go for a play and try and pry it from him, because it is exposed to my tanks, my aircraft. Japan as well. And I'm gonna have roughly 10 fighters in the Caucasus to pressure it as well. So it looks like he's gonna be forced to commit 6 American planes to try and defend it. So it might be a huge air exchange here. I don't really want the UK buying units into Africa here. But yeah. So yeah, in a KJF, I do strongly recommend to build heavy air builds. You don't really need infantry, except for India if you own it. Yeah, just heavy planes. That's all you really need. Once you lose once you lose access to the seas, you don't need infantry. Just planes to limit the American fleet movement, and to allow me to pull off these crazy moves by sticking 10 fighters in the Caucasus, so I still have odds to defend myself. Because surprisingly enough, 37 infantry has decent odds against this stack. And the final example is an early game, so it's not really started yet. But this is the ideal. Obviously, ignore the fact that I own Caucasus in this game. I had a very good early game. The Allies are very far behind because I own India and Karelia and the Caucasus. But ideally for a Japan position, you want to pull off this heavy air build. You want to try and achieve that J3 timing. So the current air count for Japan right now is 9 aircraft. Round 4, which is very good. That's a very healthy start in comparison to the other games that are going on. This is another example where the UK has succeeded CZ37. I don't know what's going on, but this season, a lot of players are going KJF. A lot of players are going CZ37, KGF, KJF. I have yet to see a CZ37 fail, and it's happened roughly 7 times this season for me. Not a single one's failed for the Allies, so you got these players that are going CZ37 and then also have an outstanding Russia 1. It's like, great, I'm already on the back foot for both Axis members. So not only did the UK succeed season 37, the US has left their fleet in 53, which means I can't efficiently grab these units, which means I can't invest as much into air. But since I own India, and the way this game's going so far, the Japanese are already going to be all over Africa, round 5, round 6. And I'm just going to buy more and more air. Because in this example, it'll keep the US fleet away from me. I just wanted to talk about this. I'm having quite a bit of success with the heavy air buys with Japan. The main advantage for it is stopping that Medshuk. Now, I do not like defending against the Medshuk. But I'm definitely getting better at it now because more and more people seem to be enjoying Medshuk. So I'm kind of forced to learn how to defend against it. Heavy Japanese air, heavy Japanese bombers. Shuts it down. It really does. Especially if you can get Japanese bombers sitting in Germany. Especially with that J Beach example. The J bombers zone off 15, 13, 8, and 3. Like, the Allies cannot defend them all without wasting a bunch of money on more ships. Great, that's what I want to see. In fact, in that game against J Beach, he was forced to buy more and more ships to keep up. Which means like, aircraft are so efficient at defense and offense. Especially in Kill Germany's. Japan, I think a good Japan player needs to send their aircraft over to Berlin if it's deemed necessary. If you're going for a logistics attack with the Axis against the Allied landings, yes, definitely go for that. But it is situational, of course. There are some games where I've had the ability to put my air across, but I've been like, Germany doesn't really need the help just yet. I want to focus more on trades and more on India pressure, right? But if you're struggling with a Medshuk, definitely get the Japanese aircraft in range of the Med. That is easier said than done, because ideally, in an ideal scenario, you need India, right? But if you can't get India, then a bomber return with Japan sitting in Szechuan zones off 15. So, yeah, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 bombers on 15, very effective. Of course, don't jump the gun or getting aircraft right? The initial buys for Japan, especially in this J Beach game, I'll look at it one more time. The first 4 rounds, I didn't buy any aircraft, I don't think. Yeah, just standard. I was fainting a Japan play. You can't really go for Japan against like highly skilled players, because most allies know how to. There's so many ways of countering a J3 timing. You have to like, you have to develop game sense. It's not very easy to explain, but the more experience you have, the more you can tell whether you can go for India or not. I fainted an India free timing. I still pressured it. You can still pressure it and still go for Russia heavily. But yes, the first 4 rounds of builds was getting that logistics correct for Japan, getting up to 5 transports. I think an ideal start for Japan is 4 transports round 1, 5 transports round 2, 6 transports. It really does depend on what the allies do. He went all in on a Medshuck and 2 ocean split with the US here. Not the Pacific Atlantic, but Med and North Atlantic, right? He sent everything. He sent nothing to keep Japan in check. You got to twist that into your advantage. Yes, the Allies will be pretty good against Germany, but Japan is going to be left unchecked, which allowed me to get up to 6 transports, take as many men from the islands as possible, and then invest in industry. Once the industry was up and running, once I slowly grew and grew and grew with income, planes, more and more planes, to eventually to the point where the Allies had to cede the oceans to me and trading opportunity, because the planes is only off so many territories, and then that's the end game result. This is a very good example. So yeah, I'm not really sure how I'm going to structure this at all. Do let me know. I'm trying to get a discussion going, I guess. And I'm just explaining what I've been doing this season. I've been experimenting with Japan. Yeah, so do let me know your thoughts. Yes, as always, appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.